Hey, welcome to another week of Guided by Faith. I'm your host, Jay Holland. I'm excited to be with you this week. I love this week. This is, in the United States, Thanksgiving week. If you are not familiar with Thanksgiving, it is the least commercialized holiday I think that we have left because there's just not a ton of money to be made on it. So you're already being bludgeoned with Black Friday ads that try to creep into it. But I want you to not jump ahead to Christmas and especially materials and merchandise and stuff. I want you to spend some time this week really reflecting on the goodness of God. So all week, we're going to be talking about gratitude. And I want to ask you if you have an attitude of gratitude. So let me give you the verse for the week that we're going to just dwell on all week long. Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. The Apostle Paul says, "Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there's any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, think about these things." And so let's just talk about gratitude in general for a minute. And I want to give you this question. I want to ask you, do you have an attitude of gratitude? Now, attitude is kind of a neat word because we think of it as a mental mindset, but attitude is something used in aviation as well. So I spent a little bit of time in the Air Force Academy and got the pleasure of soloing in a sailplane. And in a sailplane, so you're towed up behind another plane, you get up in the air, they release you, you have no motor, but you do have the rudder pedals and you have a stick that controls the way you go. And it was super duper fun, got to do it several times and learned a lot in the process. And one of the things that they talk about is just this simple statement: your attitude determines your altitude. And so what is attitude? So attitude in an aviation sense is kind of the direction that the plane is pointed. You have left, right, but attitude is really about up, down. And so if the stick that you're flying the plane with, if you pull it back towards you, when you do that, the nose of the plane is pointed up. And it doesn't matter if it's pointed super high or if it's pointed a little bit. If it's pointed just slightly up, your altitude will continue to climb. If your nose is pointed even just slightly down, your altitude will continue to go down and eventually you hit the ground. Hopefully you're planning on hitting the ground and you're going to land safely. But there have been historically many, many tales of people crashing because they did not realize that their nose was pointed down, that their nose was pointed towards the ground. And all of a sudden the ground comes upon them and they crash and burn, and many fatalities have come from that. Well, I think that that's a great analogy for how some people honestly live their life. You don't realize, but you are negative on the whole. Maybe you're thankful every once in a while, but your mindset, your mentality tends to be about things that you don't have, burdens that you're under, what everybody else has, things that you wish that you could do that you can't, things that are aching on your body, things that are burdening you about your family or school. And these things may all be true, but when they occupy the primary real estate in our mind, remember, your attitude determines your altitude. And so if these are the things you're dwelling on, your nose is pointing to the ground and you're going to have a crash. Now, what the Apostle Paul says is you have the opportunity to choose what you think about. And this has been pretty revolutionary for me. I realized that in my day, in my life, there are unlimited pieces of information that I get. There are unlimited things that are true, but I don't have the capacity to hold on to all of them. And so I get the choice of what things I'm going to hold on to, what things I'm going to dwell on, because I've realized that feelings actually follow focus. There's some feelings on the front end, but I really reinforce my feelings on what I focus on. And it's something that I've said to you guys over and over again: what you feed will grow, what you starve will die. And so the Apostle Paul says, what are you going to feed? What are you going to hold on to? What are you going to think about? Well, you want to think about things that are true, things that are honorable, things that are pure, that are lovely, that are commendable. And so my encouragement to you, this is what I've actually been doing all the month of November. I have a little journal, and every day I write down 1 through 15. And my goal is to come up with 15 individual things that I'm thankful for every single day. And so, I know a ton of people, so I could probably fill out the whole list just with people that I'm thankful for. But I'm thankful for big picture things like my salvation, but also things like my couch. I'm thankful for my taste buds. I'm thankful for the relationships God has given me. And by doing this every day, I get to be hyper specific on the things that I'm thankful for. And what I have learned, and what I hope that you can catch, is that your attitude truly does determine your altitude, and you get a choice on your attitude. You do get to choose the things that you dwell on, the things that you're thankful for. And it takes some work. Like, it takes some work to train yourself to be grateful. But thank God we have a whole holiday based on this. And what's kind of wild to think about is if you were transported back in time to that first feast with the Pilgrims or the Indians, and you had to live either the lives of the Pilgrims or the lives of the Indians, you would be completely miserable because of the level of hardship that they walked through, the level of suffering that they walked through. But they learned to be grateful and thank God for the gifts that He's given them. And so in your life, I want you to realize, like, you have been abundantly blessed. You've been blessed with salvation. You've been blessed with relationships. You've been blessed with opportunity. And you've been blessed with the choice of what you think about. Your attitude is going to determine your altitude. And over the rest of the week, let's lean into specific choices that we can make, specific things that we can be thankful for. But today, as we close out, I want to challenge you. What is your attitude? What are you dwelling on? What are you choosing to think about? Because your attitude is determining your altitude.